Polyvagal theory, a science of safety. This is printed in Frontiers in Integrative Neuroscience, published May 10th, 2022, and written by Dr. Stephen Porges. Neuroception. Polyvagal theory proposes that the neural evaluation of risk and safety reflexively triggers shifts in autonomic state without requiring conscious awareness. Thus, the term neuroception was introduced to emphasize a neural process, distinct from perception, capable of distinguishing environmental and visceral features that are safe, dangerous, or life-threatening. A form of neuroception can be found in virtually all living organisms, regardless of the development of the nervous system. In fact, it could be argued that single-celled organisms, and even plants, have a primordial nervous system that responds to threat. As mammals, we are familiar with reactions to pain, a type of neuroception. We react to pain prior to our ability to identify the source of the stimulus or even of an awareness of the injury. Similarly, the detection of threat appears to be common across all vertebrate species. However, mammals have an expanded capacity for neuroception, in which they not only react instantaneously to threat, but also respond instantaneously to cues of safety. It is in this later feature that enables mammals to down-regulate defensive strategies and promote sociality by enabling physiological and physical proximity without an anticipation of potential injury. It is in this calming mechanism that adaptively adjusts the central regulation of autonomic function to dampen the metabolically costly fight-flight reactions dependent on sympathetic activation, and to protect the oxygen-dependent central nervous system, especially the cortex, from metabolically conservative defensive reactions of the dorsal vagal complex, such as fainting or death feigning. Polyvagal theory proposes that neuroception functionally involves both top-down and bottom-up mechanisms. The process of neuroception, consistent with Level 2 in Table 1, is assumed to be initiated via top-down pathways, involving cortical areas located in or near temporal cortex, components of the central nervous system that reflexively interpret cues of threat and safety. These areas of the cortex are sensitive to the intentionality of biological movements, including voices, faces, gestures, and hand movements. Embedded in the construct of neuroception is the capacity of the nervous system to react to the intention of these movements. Neuroception functionally decodes and interprets the assumed goal of movements and sounds of inanimate and living objects. Thus, the neuroception of familiar individuals and individuals with appropriately prosodic voices and warm, expressive faces frequently translates into a positive social interaction, promoting a sense of safety. Autonomic state responds to the top-down detection of risk or safety. The autonomic reactions send sensory information regarding bodily feelings to the brain, where they're interpreted and consciously felt. The bottom-up limb of the neuroception is functionally equivalent to interoception. Thus, although we're often aware of the stimuli that trigger different neuroception responses, we are generally aware of our body's reactions, example, visceral feelings embodied in autonomic signatures that support adaptive behaviors, example, social engagement, fight, flight, and shutdown. Social connectedness, a biological imperative. A biological imperative identifies a need that must be fulfilled for a living organism to perpetuate existence and survival. Polyvagal theory suggests that social connectedness is a core biological imperative for humans. Since human survival is dependent on trusted others, is wired into our genetics, and is expressed through the lifespan, starting from the moment of birth. Polyvagal theory proposes that social connectedness is tantamount to stating that our body feels safe in proximity with another. The theory elaborates that the neural structures involved in the social engagement system orchestrate the autonomic state of the interacting dyad to both broadcast and receive cues of safety that downregulate threat reactions of defense and promote accessibility and co-regulation. To be socially connected via a functional social engagement system, the common brainstem structures must appropriately coordinate the striated muscles of the face and head with the vagal regulation of the viscera originating in a brainstem region known as the nucleus ambiguus. Interestingly, anatomically, the special visceral efferent pathways regulating the striated muscles of the face and head originate and communicate with the brainstem area, example the ventral vagal complex, that regulate the ventral vagal cardioinhibitory pathway. The ventral vagal cardioinhibitory pathway provides the neural pathways that are expressed as the vagal brake and can be monitored by quantifying the amplitude of respiratory sinus arrhythmia. An optimal, resilient individual has opportunities to co-regulate physiological state with a safe and trusted other. Ideally, the other person projects positive cues regarding their autonomic state through prosodic voice, warm, welcoming facial expressions, and features of accessibility. From an evolutionary perspective, the integration of the neural regulation of the viscera and the regulations of the striated muscles of the face and head enable visceral state to be projected in vocalizations and facial expressions. This also allows vocalizations of facial expressions modulated by autonomic states to serve as cues of safety or threat to others. Together, these pathways connect behavior to the nervous system and form the basis for social communication, cooperation, and connectedness. This system also produces, via a ventral vagal cardioinhibitory pathway, an autonomic state that provides feelings of safety and reflects an adaptive mastery of level 2 processes. Polyvagal theory, by articulating an evolutionary hierarchy, example based on Jacksonian dissolution, in the function of autonomic nervous system to challenges, provides a guide to dynamically monitor adaptive autonomic responses. The autonomic state of an individual serves as a functional map of the foundation of emergent behavioral, emotional, and physiological reactivity that an individual may have in response to threat, or alternatively to positive experiences. The state of the autonomic nervous system provides a neural platform for an expanded range of feelings, from threat to safety, that provides a neurophysiological substrate for higher brain structures to elaborate these feelings. If the feelings are negative and dependent on autonomic states supporting defense, the feelings may evolve into diffuse states of anxiety or specific emotions, such as fear or anger. Alternatively, if the feelings are positive and dependent on an autonomic state of calmness, thus enabling interpersonal accessibility and co-regulation, then these feelings may be associated with trust, love, and intimacy.